We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230, KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico at 1000 KKIM. So, Clay, what do you think of Wayne?
Wayne talks faster than anybody I've ever known. He's really a go-getter type of guy, and he really knows his stuff. He was with Obama for a lot of years.
And, you know, it's great trying to... He's one of those guys where you try to, come in for the breaks and stuff, and you almost feel like you're interrupting him,
I know. I thought I was going to put him to sleep when I asked him a question.
He's great, though.
Oh, yeah, I love Wayne.
Yeah, and he was the Libertarian VP candidate. Do you notice how he snuck in, what the next person running for president has to do, and he said it may even be me?
Yeah,
did you catch that?
I did catch that. Yeah,
that was kind of interesting, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because he has
changed
switched
parties, I think.
He has switched from the Libertarian to the Republican Party, so be interesting to see if maybe down the road we can scoop people and see if there's a presidential. He's got
some real strong opinions.
Yes, he does.
Wow.
Yes, he does. Well, in our last segment, we've got a gentleman in the studio here that I'm really looking forward to. He represents MOAA, the Military Officers Association of America. He's a vice president for him, Gordon Fisher, and he's going to talk about an event that's going on.
Colonel Gordon Fisher.
Well, yes, retired Colonel Gordon Fisher from the United States Army, which is the secondary force here in the United States. They call
former presidents president. They call ambassadors ambassadors. So he's a colonel, always a colonel.
Okay, he's a colonel in the United States Army, which, after the Marines is the second best fighting force in the country. Gordon, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. So tell us about what is MOAA, the Military Officers Association of America?
Well, MOAA is the largest military organization in America of officers coming from all branches of service, to include the Marines. We include them in there.
Thank you.
Along with the Air Force, National Guard, reserve units, and so on. We have 370,000 members.
Wow.
We have 400 chapters scattered throughout the United States, so we're a very large organization with headquarters just outside of Washington, D.C., and the purpose of the whole group really is to advise Congress on what needs to be done to defend our Constitution, to increase the abilities of our war machine, the military. And so they're there kind of as consultants to a lot of people in Washington. And they're likewise there to protect the privileges that were promised to us in the military when we signed up for 30 years.
So locally, how does someone become a member of MOAA?
Well, we've got we have meetings. We have board meetings once a month. We have dinner meetings every other month. And would be to give us a call. They could call me at 834-7653, and I'd be happy to send out to them the information that they would need to fill out to become a member.
Now, and it's only for former officers, correct?
It's for former officers, but we even have active duty officers on there, so it's just not former, but they are officers, and so it's a very large organization. Really focused with the officer corps.
So the poor peons like Clay and I that were just enlisted men wouldn't qualify for this organization.
Well, that's probably true, but don't forget there's the VFW. There's a number of wonderful military organizations, Legion, American Legion.
Which Clay and I are both a member of.
First off, I wasn't enlisted. I was drafted.
I'm sorry. I enlisted before they drafted me.
It sounds like reluctantly.
Originally it was, and then when I went to OCS and got hurt, that was a tragedy, but it did shorten my military career.
Yeah.
So
hold on a second. That's one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. So, our guest in studio here is Gordon Fisher. He's the Vice President for the Military Officers Association of America, the Kern County chapter of it. And Gordon, you're on here to talk about an event that's going to happen the latter part of this month, May 20th?
Yes, May 20th. Well, we're very excited about this opportunity. Our speaker is going to be Noni Darwich, and Noni is well known across the United States and even into Europe. And we were lucky to find a schedule that she could meet and that we could meet. And so the event is presently scheduled at Hodell's. Tickets are available. And Noni, for those who don't know her, she is the author of 3 books. She lived in Egypt underneath Islamic regime. She will talk about the Islamic situation as it pertains to women, which is very interesting to listen to the truth, which she has lived through it all. And we find it, the timing for her coming seems to be pretty good as we take a look at what's happening around the world.
So she's an infidel then?
She is an infidel, and with a price on her head, as she converted to Christianity, got married, has 3 children, and her mission in life is to get out and let the American people know that radical Islam is, we better be aware.
There's a couple of really strong women that came out of that environment. One started Act for America, and then there's Nomi as well.
Yes, that's very true.
Well, her last book is entitled Now They Call Me an Infidel, but the flyer here that you guys made up is very informative. She lived under Sharia law in Egypt. She made a comment here that my Islamic teachers taught me to hate Americans, Christians, Jews, and the West, and they taught me that my holy duty was to kill others in the name of jihad.
Yes.
So that's pretty frightening. Let me ask you a question, and this may be out of your realm, but why do you think the media we don't hear more about this kind of story in the media?
I think that we live at times when we don't like to offend people. A good example was that one of our gals who was distributing out the flyers went over to a particular hospital in town and was going to put the flyers out. And then the hospital staff said, well, so what are you doing? Well, she said, I have permission to put these flyers out. And the hospital staff person said, listen, don't put those things out because I'm afraid it might offend some of our people in the hospital. And without even knowing what the topic is and who the topic was being presented by.
Not only just offending people, but we need to start profiling people as well as offend people, because it's our life that's in danger today.
Yes, it is endangered. I agree with that 100%.
And what's happening, we're seeing this type of Muslim teachings in our elementary schools today, and they're changing history.
Yes.
And so Nomi hopefully will bring the story about what's actually taking place in America and how the Al-Qaeda and those groups are trying to take over our government.
And they're advancing on it, and they're successful at where they're headed, and we don't seem to be doing anything about it.
Well, and part of it is because it almost seems like the media is complicit in this because they're not broadcasting this kind of thing unless you're looking at shows like ours, Limbaugh's show, a lot of conservative shows on Fox. Nobody else is talking about this kind of thing.
Oh, you're right.
And it's frightening.
You're right.
And you look at Benghazi and you look at Boston. There's a lot more to the stories than we know about. In the public. And hopefully that kind of stuff will be coming out shortly. So
May, what's the date of that?
May 20th.
It's May 20th, 6 o'clock. Business casual. It's $25 per person. The person to contact is our guest, Gordon Fisher, at 834-7653.
Yeah, or you can contact Tony Ennis, and Tony Ennis's phone number, because he has the tickets, and his phone number is 836-8605, and he'd be happy to get some tickets out to anybody who would be interested in attending. Now,
everybody should attend. This is going to be a great event and very informative.
Yeah, and likewise at this event will be 7 other organizations that we have invited to be there, and these are organizations in Bakersfield that are wonderful in supporting just not the community, but supporting our veterans who are coming home, our wounded veterans, and they will, each of the 7 will have information there about their particular organization, and we'll be giving a little 3-minute talk about what they do.
Good.
So I think that everyone would find that to be very interesting. We've kind of handpicked the cream of the crop that we have in Bakersfield, and so there's so much support in our community. It's just wonderful to have their strong military community.
Mm-hmm. Now, the name again is Gordon Fisher, 834-7653, or Tony at 661-836-8605. The event is for the Military Officers Association of America, which Clay and I can't belong to since we're not officers. It's May 20th, 2013, at 6 p.m. at Hodell's. Please come. Noni Darwish, the author of Now They Call Me Infidel, she's been on one of our local shows here several times, Greg has told us. And, this is information that we really need to know. I mean, it's extremely important. And I'm going to throw in a little sidebar here. We just lined up a guest who is going to talk about this very subject. The end of the month, we have John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the UN. He's going to be on for a little while, and we'll talk about this very subject. But, we're looking at Benghazi, we're looking at Boston, we're looking at, we're looking at this society changing dramatically, and unfortunately, it's not for the better, and this information needs to come out.
Any active military person that wants to come to this, they'll be the guest of the Clay and Marty show. So hopefully you'll call in and tell them that, or call us, and we'll get you a ticket.
It would be our pleasure to take care of that.
Very, very nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem at all. Okay, we've got about 30 seconds left. Again, 6 o'clock, May 20th, for MOAA, Military Officers Association of America. The guest is Noni Darwish. Gordon Fisher at 834-7653, or Tony at 836-8605. Gordon, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
And we'll see you on May 20th. And we will see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk, 1180.